Crimea is in the dark at this hour. Nearly 2 million residents of the area, look at these pictures, taken by Putin's Russia in the spring of 2014, are without any power. This after unnamed activists blew up the 4 main lines carrying electricity from the Ukraine into the Crimean Peninsula. I want to bring in former world chess champion, author, and political activist Garry Kasparov. Garry, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. Putin's set to meet with Francois Hollande this week on Thursday. First, your thoughts on that meeting as well as what's happening this morning in Crimea.
Now, regarding ISIS, the big question is Hollande, Obama, other leaders, are they willing to fight or they want to win? Because if they want to win, they need a strategy that does not include Putin, Iran, and other forces in the region behind other kind of terrorists. Because as long as Putin is calling the shots there, as long as Iran has been steadily gaining power, by the way, Iran is one of the main supporters of Hamas, Hezbollah, and terrorism around the world as well, there will be no peace in the region. ISIS has full support of the Sunni tribes in Iraq and Syria because they could see Shia government in Baghdad and Bashar al-Assad's butcherous regime in Syria as a main threat to them. As long as this situation remains, we don't expect peace in the region.
Well, if you were Obama and you were actually playing to win, what would you do?
It might be a bit too late for Obama because you have to make credible threats. The problem is nobody will believe Obama. Even
no more credibility.
But that's a problem. You're trying to avoid smaller conflicts, and you end up with a big war. Because imposing now a no-fly zone means that if Russia violates it, you have to shoot down Russian planes. And Obama lost all the credibility, and naturally Putin will test him. So I think it's complicated, but probably it's still worth recalling U.S. winning strategy in 2007, 2008, when the peace was made with Sunni tribes and they were offered protection. You cannot win hearts and souls from 30,000 feet. Bombing these regions, is not going to improve the situation because it will push Sunnis to
So you
ISIS.
disagree with Trump's whole, well, let's just bomb the hell out of them? I mean,
you can bomb. Yeah, you can bomb the hell of that, and eventually you create hell on the ground.
Right.
Because there are millions and millions of Sunnis. Now, as long as you're siding with Assad and Iran, you guarantee that millions of Sunnis from the region will be supporting ISIS.
Is there a way that the UN Security Council can actually, for once, do something?
What did you say? The UN Security Council?
Yeah, right. I mean, because China is now saying, hey, we had a hostage be killed. Russia's now in the mix. This is one time that they could actually do something.
That would have been my reaction too, though. UN Security Council.
Because how else?
What are you going to do?
If bombing's not going to work, then you're going to need a worldwide cooperation to get something done, right?
So wouldn't it cooperation means that you have, at one point, you have some common ground. When you look at World War II, at least Stalin had the same goal of destroying Nazis. Putin doesn't have the same goal. I mean, the latest report, Assad army has been advancing, but not against ISIS, but against American-backed rebels. Putin needs conflict. Putin needs high oil prices. So that's why, as long as he stays in the region and Iranians just align with him, they'll do everything to make sure that the situation remains complicated. And let's not forget, Israel is just next door.
Right.
And you're saying Putin needs conflict because his economy is plummeting. Oil prices have plummeted. He needs to look like the big tough guy savior who's saving the country. Meanwhile, he got them into this position.
But also, in the last year, Putin gained sort of the reputation of a tough guy who can change things. And he has more soft power now, diplomatically, than the United States.
Totally.
Because everybody will take his word. And nobody takes America seriously anymore.
How could the U.S. have used the bombing and the terror attacks in Paris to forge a better relationship? Because this is a question. Could we have moved in and been the best ally of France along with the UK? Because it's Putin and France, and then we're a marginal player.
Yeah, because we need leadership.
It's amazing. I mean, to hear that America is a marginal player in the Middle East.
We are. Do you disagree with that?
No, but it's a result of the 7 years of retreat. The Obama administration has created a vacuum there, and Putin filled the vacuum.
Right.
But the only way now is just to recover it by just bringing NATO together and coming up with a plan. I don't know. I'm not here to advocate for the boots on the ground, but eventually you have to create a force that will be capable of taking on ISIS. But unfortunately, as long as Assad stays in Damascus, nothing will change.
Is there any candidate out there that you think has the right plan when it comes to foreign policy, Garry? And anything you've heard that you're impressed with?
Look, I understand they all are very cautious in advocating for boots on the ground. That's not popular. But definitely, when you hear something from Trump, about bombing and waterboarding, it's not going to solve problems. It can play nicely with voters, primary voters, but it's not a long-term solution. I could hear that Rubio definitely has a plan, but I think he's probably too reserved because he can't offer the long-term solution because it might damage your campaign.
And one thing that we've talked about before, and you just mentioned it, is Israel is right there. If Trump says, let Russia, kill ISIS, let them do it.
But Russia is not killing ISIS.
He can't divorce himself from Israel and the support of Israel.
But absolutely, because Iran is, and by the way, Russia, they're supporters of Hamas and Hezbollah. One of the demands of Russian delegation at these negotiations in Vienna with Americans and other powers was to remove Hamas and Hezbollah from the terrorist list. And, Iran declared, actually repeated many times, that this destruction of Israel is non-negotiable.
Garry, congratulations on the book. Garry Kasparov is the author of the new book, Winter is Coming.
It is coming, yes, for sure.
Winter is coming, meanwhile.
I like that call.
Meanwhile, there's dark and dangerous times ahead of us.
Dark and tenuous times ahead of us. Garry Kasparov, always a pleasure. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you.